Living and Aging with Pride. I am James Brown, and I've got the pleasure, the luxury, and the discomfort of having David Ibarra in the room with me. Now, this guy, let me tell you, this guy is a business advisor. He's an influencer. He's a financial expert. He teaches you how to make wealth. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how you can learn to win in the fourth quarter, because that's what he's about. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, James. It's a pleasure to be
Hey,
here.
man, it's a pleasure. I've known you for a lot of years, and all of this time, I've watched you progress through life with this smile on your face and this elegance about you. And tell me, what makes you do that?
Well, I tell you what, when you find your purpose in life,
Right.
everything's easy. And about 40 years ago, I found what I was intended to do, why I'm here.
So you were walking down the street, kicked the can, and it said, I've stumbled upon the answer to my life, and here I go.
You know, unfortunately, James, most people stumble.
Okay.
I think it's a lot more powerful when you ask.
Okay.
And you go through a process of asking yourself questions. But when you're able to answer the question, what do I want?
Right.
And you can answer it, then everything else just falls into place. But for me, my purpose on earth is to work with employed adults. Employed adults. And there are 90% of the workforce that show up every Monday, they don't like their job. And if you show up to work and you don't like your job, then you're slowly committing spiritual suicide. You go home not as good a parent as you could be, not as good as partner as you could be, not as good as a community member as you could be, and life isn't fulfilled. And if you're not happy, it shows in everything.
So how do we go back to a place where we can structure our lives well enough to understand what it is we need to do about having a job that we like, how to sustain and take care of our families based upon I like doing it. Well, I like being on television and broadcasting and making sure you get the right information to live your life better. I'm happy. I'm there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you can't go back.
Okay.
You know, we are where we are. The point is it's never too late to start.
Ooh.
It's never too late to start. And you know, as we have talked before, one of the things that really interests me in, you know, living and aging with pride is that we live 4 quarters of our lives. 4 quarters.
4 quarters.
4 quarters. And every game, a basketball game, it has 4 quarters. It don't have 2. And you don't judge your life based on what you did in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter. You win the game in the fourth quarter. Right. And we prepare ourselves. I would not want to go back to the third quarter or the second quarter or the first quarter. I work hard to know what I know and to be able to impact how I can. And you win by living and aging with pride in the fourth quarter of your life.
So you always have to have a focus. Let's say we're in the first quarter.
Yep.
And maybe you're making some adaptations in the first quarter because you're learning the team, you're learning the game, you're understanding the activity that you have to partake in, and muscling through life. I like that word, muscling through life, you know. So by the third quarter, you got a pretty good fix on what you need to be doing. The fourth quarter,
man, you should be spot on.
Be on it.
You should be on overdrive. No reverse, no neutral. On overdrive.
Just going forward.
Smooth. But I'll tell you is that you know, you get more if you're raised by parents that understand what you and I understand now.
Right.
If they taught their children that in the first quarter of their lives, imagine where they'd be. If entering middle school, high school, they really knew occupationally what they wanted to do, what they loved to do, prepared themselves for their secondary education, and knew what they want. One of the things that I do is something every Wednesday night called time tithing. Anybody who wants to get on my schedule that is has any kind of a question about success and can't afford a performance coach, they can call Crystal at my office. They can get on a list. And Wednesday night is my time tithing. That's give back. I've done over 1,000 folks in helping them get what they want. Performance coach. I cannot benefit from it This is a gift, and I benefit from giving the gift. But when I get a college student, I just had one before I came.
Right.
And me and Alex were talking, and one of the things that I shared with him is that you are in the sophomore year of your at the University of Utah.
Right.
What is it you're going to do with the diploma you're seeking to achieve?
And what did he say?
He said, well, he had an idea, and I said, look, I want you to change that idea into the position, the organization, and I want you to know how much money that organization, that position makes within the organization. So does it fit what you're going to need for a family that you will have? And then what I shared with him was, look, this is rich to be rich.
Right.
My goal is to make everyone rich. But when you say that, everybody assumes that's wealth. There's 5 categories of our life. There's family, faith, community, health, and wealth.
Right.
So you define what rich is to you, whether it's a combination of faith, family, and community, whether it's wealth. It's different for everybody.
So money is not the key
money
factor.
is not the key factor. It's a part. Because I'll tell every single one, and I'll be absolutely very direct.
Right.
I'm going to tell you something, that if you go down a course that money will not make you happy,
Right.
but if you do not have enough, it will be most inconvenient your entire life.
Inconvenient with no more money. That's what I'm talking about. This is Living with Pride. My name is James Brown, and I'm talking to the great David Ibarra, and we're talking about wealth. And you have to define wealth in many functions of your life, because there are many aspects of your life that you have wealth. Absorb this, use this, be this, and you'll win this.
Absolutely. 4/4 of your life is all yours.
That's what I'm talking about.
You could have a Michael Jordan performance.
Woo! That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, you know, David, you've spent a lot of time surveying the environment, the world. Mm-hmm. You travel all over the world talking to people. Mm-hmm. Is it unique in your mind that, or maybe it's not, that we all seek the same thing?
You know, when it comes to, we would be better as a nation, as a world, if we found what is common about us.
Right.
But the one thing I've never, ever seen a individual that doesn't want good things to happen for their children.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And people are wanting to know, wherever they're at, whatever country they're at, that they matter, that their time on earth matters. Absolutely. Do you see me? Do you hear me? Do I matter? And when folks don't feel that, then they fall into the negative state of mind that there's only, you can have negative and positive, fear or joy, right, are so uncommon emotions, they cannot live in the thought pattern at the same time.
Right.
So what we teach in our seminars is that if you know that and you know how the brain works, subconscious only job is to direct the conscious to do what you seeded it to do. Right. And a little part of your brain is your imagination that feels the emotions of fear and joy. And those two thoughts cannot live in the same space at the same time. Well, then it becomes really easy, James. Pick happiness. Don't pick sadness. Pick positive. Don't pick negative. Pick joy. Don't pick a fear, and learn to be the switch master of your own thought and pivot to positive.
Switch master of your own thought. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, let me tell you something. What we're talking about here is that when you start nurturing your mind in a positive way, we're now telling you that that process will stick with you because it's embedded in your subconscious mind, which is driving the car.
That's it. That's it. And every one of us want happiness. We want joy. But then, the moment that we say, well, this is what I'm going to do, the moment we have that thought, for most of us, the next thought is Dr. Doubt. Dr.
Right.
Doubt comes a call and says, hey, James, what were you thinking?
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
David, man, you don't have the right education for that. You don't come from the right neighborhood. You don't have the right... And it's up to us, again, to be the switch master of our own thought, pivot that to positive, and that's what I learned to do probably a little later in life, 30s, maybe close
But
to
that's-
40. I just thought to myself, if I am really motivated
Right.
to have my grandchildren know that by age 7. Because by age 7, your subconscious is pretty much seated to believe or disbelieve.
Well,
and if you enter kindergarten believing, then education and is a good experience. For me, it was not a good experience.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, I've been refreshed. I'm in the starting box at the fourth quarter. We're getting ready to hit the curve around the racetrack, and I'm telling you, I'm in the front of the lane. That's what I'm talking about.
That's
I
right.
want you to be there with us as well. I'm James Brown. This is David Ibarra. David Ibarra is the man of the hour, the day, the month, the year, eternity. He's my friend. He's your friend because he just shared some knowledge with you. David, before we go out with this, we have seniors out there who, because they're at a certain age, whether it's 55, 65, or 75, and because our system has said, you're going to retire now and you're done, they work that into their brain and they think that that's the end. What should they be thinking and doing?
Well, look, as a nation, we don't have enough mentors. As a nation, we have a depleting workforce. We need every single person that can contribute to continue our economic growth. And we've seeded the subconscious to believe at age 65, you're supposed to watch TV.
Right.
And hobby around.
Right.
Well, if that's what you want to do, well then fine. But that's not what I want to do.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you what, it took me a long time to learn what I learned. I am 67 years old, and I'm going to tell you this, I will be working for 15 more years at 70 hours a week because I've never worked a day in my life. I love what I do, and it took me a long time to learn this, so continue to share it until you don't love it.
Now that's what we're talking about. Living and aging with pride. I want you to get on this boat and take this cruise with us because it's going to be for your best benefit. I'm James Brown. This has been David Ibarra. My pleasure, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you,
My
James.
pleasure. We do this again and again and again. So until next time, stay tuned. Coming up next, on our next episode, we're going to be talking to Patrice Banks. She was one of the members of Graham Central Station. She has worked with Prince. She's worked with everybody in the industry. She's doing a thing in Los Angeles that's all about helping musicians who have come to an age and at the end of the road, they need housing and support, and she's helping those guys that have helped us laugh and dance and have a good time who are now needing help and support. Patrice Banks, they call her Chocolate. We'll be right back. Bye-bye.